The Florida House is considering a new bill that would enormously impact family law in the state of Florida. Here's what it is all about. Currently, our system provides for judges during the week in family law, with, of course, an occasional emergency judge, much like they might have in criminal for domestic violence, but not somebody that is routinely hearing cases during/on the weekend. The new proposal would authorize the state of Florida to afford and bankroll new judges in each circuit in the state of Florida in order to have weekend hearings on domestic violence issues and emergency time sharing matters. That sounds wonderful and absolutely dreadful. It sounds wonderful because that is needed and it is long overdue. It sounds absolutely dreadful because it almost obligates attorneys that represent clients to randomly appear for weekend hearings, whether it's for domestic violence issues or emergency time sharing matters. And if those emergency hearings are now going to be heard more frequently or more commonly, attorneys are going to have to present evidence before they've gathered all of the evidence, before they have thoroughly prepared for people's cases. This is quite frankly a worst case scenario. This creates a situation where attorneys representing clients may be forced into the position of going to hearings on significant matters of great substance well before they are ready, well before the evidence is compiled, the evidence is printed, the evidence is ready for presentation. This is a big deal. I think this is going to hurt people's cases because hearing evidence in the absence of having enough time to prepare for these things, where there's usually 3 weeks to 3 months notice for the attorneys and clients to prepare, may lead to hearings with a vacuum as far as evidence is concerned. It could be wonderful for the person pushing forward for that hearing if the court grants the hearing and allows it to happen prior to mediation, which is usually a barricade and something of a threshold in Florida family law. It is a blessing potentially because we need more judges, not fewer judges. There have been millions, yes, capital and millions, of people that have moved to Florida from all across the country, from California, Texas, New York, especially, New Jersey, Connecticut, the Carolinas, Idaho. We see constantly license plates all over the place that are not Florida license plates. Think of that what you may, think of that what you will. There seems to be a sort of mass migration from other states to Florida because Florida has become something of a refuge for people seeking bigger houses. Affordability, whether or not it is affordable in 2026 versus how affordable it may have been in 2019. People are seeking a better life. Often when people move to Florida, they have marital problems, their marriages are ready for dissolution, and the court system already flooded, already backed up, already strained, does not always have enough judicial officers, general magistrates, circuit court judges to actually hear every case with the time and attention it might otherwise deserve. This is through no fault of the judges, no fault of the magistrates, and frankly, no fault of the system. This may be because of the absence of proper funding. It also may be an oversight where certain judges were appointed or elected, but not in the number required to ensure that justice can be accommodated as frequently and as often as may be necessary. Yes, I am parsing my words. I am parsimonious here because I do not wish to offend anybody involved here, except to say that there are always benefits and burdens. There are perils and pitfalls to this. If this bill were to pass, imagine going to court on a Saturday afternoon or even a Sunday potentially, depending on whether or not religious considerations are taken into great consideration by the legislature. Imagine going to court on the weekend and having a child custody hearing until 6 or 7 o'clock at night on a Saturday. That sounds unusual. Then again, I started a mediation practice where we mediate on Saturdays, and it's perfectly fine for me. I've never I have never had a problem working on some weekends. I believe that it is good for business. It is good for working class people to be able to mediate when they actually have the time to do it without feeling like they have to take days off work, lose income, or feeling as though they won't be able to pick up their kids on time because they're stuck at a court ordered mediation and they're mediating their case instead of going to take their kids to after school activities or picking them up from daycare on time or picking them up from school on time. There are a million and one things to consider when thinking about whether or not weekend time sharing hearings are a good idea. I'm not going to get into the domestic violence aspect of this because I do not do many, if any, hearings on domestic violence at this time. But I do a lot of child custody hearings, and for several reasons, I think offhand, just hearing this recently, yesterday, as a matter of fact, I think this is both a wonderful idea and an idea that is laden with fault.